Hey guys, it's Chris from Steeda, and today we're going to do a full review, install, sound clips, you name it, of the AWE track and touring Cat-Back for the 2018 Plus Mustang GTs. So let's dive in. Obviously there's a lot of parts in here, a lot to go over, so we can dive in right now. What you're looking at is a full Cat-Back system for your 2018 Plus Mustang. Starts with a 2.5 direct connection up to your factory mid pipes. If you have headers, make sure those are direct and it'll go right into this system. Going through a 3-inch H pipe, 3-inch all the way back. One thing to point out is that this is for fastbacks only. If you have a convertible, you have that additional bracing under the car. So a 3-inch Cat-Back is not for you because it will hit that bracing. You have straight through style resonators through the intermediate pipes and then working your way back to the axle back. What's hooked up as part of this Cat-Back here is their touring axle back. It has 180-degree technology patented by AWE for no drone. I'm really excited to hear how this sounds because not only does it have an H pipe, which will give you that deep muscle car tone, but with that 180 technology, you don't have to worry about drone. Deep exhaust and no drone is usually pretty hard to get, so I'm excited to hear what this sounds like. Additionally, if touring is a little too quiet for you and you want to up the ante, you'll have the option for the track exhaust, which essentially omits the mufflers for a straight through muffler delete. With your quad tips, you have the option for 4-inch chrome tips or 4-inch black diamond tips. Personally, I'm a fan of those black diamond tips, and may I point out how well packaged they are. They come in their own box, right in the foam. They even include a sticker, a QR code for installation instructions, and a lollipop. Additionally, you get 4 standard 3-inch exhaust clamps and 4 T-bolt clamps for the exhaust tips. I should point out that this entire system, everything is T304L stainless steel, which is super high quality. It'll definitely stand the test of time. And my favorite part is that it's designed, engineered, and manufactured all here in the USA. One cool thing about AWE exhaust is that if you go ahead and choose, like let's say the track Cat-Back for your 2018 Plus Mustang, it's a little too loud for you, so you want to quiet it down. They have a part number dedicated specifically to converting your track Cat-Back over to a touring Cat-Back. The last thing I want to point out is this exhaust valve motor bracket from AWE. Now, the reason why you would need this is if you wanted to install this Cat-Back on a car that's equipped with active exhaust, which we'll be doing today. The reason why you can't just unplug the active exhaust actuators is because it'll throw a code. So AWE came up with a solution by incorporating this bracket to bolt the motors to. That way you can retain the active exhaust function, you don't get any check engine lights, but run the really awesome sounding Cat-Back. So let's jump into the installation. Later on, we'll show you some sound clips comparing stock versus their touring Cat-Back and the AWE track Cat-Back as well. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and begin the installation. Tools required, it's actually pretty simple. 15mm deep socket, I'm using a 1/2-inch drive, 13mm wrench, and a panel removal tool for those who have active exhaust. Before we dive in, make sure you remove the negative battery terminal because this particular car has active exhaust. We'll be messing with that connection, so again, just stay on the safe side. We'll head to the back and unplug the active exhaust. Starting in the rear, we're gonna wanna remove the active exhaust connection. So there's a Christmas tree up on the body right here. Just grab your body panel removal tool and pull it on out. And then go ahead and unplug the connection. That way this harness will come out with the exhaust. In addition to the other Christmas tree, you'll want to make sure you grab this one on the hanger as well. The same thing on the other side. Next up, you'll be loosening up these 2 clamps here, closer to the front of the car. Grab your 15mm deep socket and go to work. Now keep in mind, you will be reusing these clamps. So don't throw them away or anything. And again, you only need to loosen them up just enough to slide the Cat-Back off. Now keep in mind, you are going to want to have a friend help you get this Cat-Back off. It's a little much for one person because from here back, it's literally all one welded piece. Next up, grab a 13mm wrench and get to work on these hangers. Now they do have little clips at the end of the hangers, so they will hang there even after you get the bolt out. And let's take a minute to appreciate this beautiful blue Steeda rear sway bar with the billet mounts. Red diff bushings up there as well. Full stop the hop kit on this car. And it's soon to have an AWE Cat-Back exhaust. Quick little tech tip, when you are taking the Cat-Back down, obviously the front end's gonna come down first, so these tips are gonna wanna go up. You don't wanna scratch up your valance, so grab a rag and put it over the tips on either side, just to protect that plastic valance. I will admit, I've learned this the hard way. Before you take the exhaust off the car, remember these hangers are literally hanging by a little clip at the top. So just lift up and on either side and pop them out. Just kind of aim them down so they're out of the way. We'll remove these hangers once the exhaust off the car. All right, the process to get this done is pretty simple. What you do is you get these clamps, you push them towards the resonator. You got a hammer for that. Just all you have to do is lightly tap it if they're properly loosened. And then once you have the clamps towards the back of the car, you're gonna work it off of the head pipes. Then once you have the Cat-Back dropped, you're obviously still hanging on two hangers in the rear. You have your buddy watch, make sure the tips aren't hitting the valance and they have support of the rear of the system. Then once this is off, then you slide the whole system forward and it drops out of those two hangers in the back. Now keep in mind, you do have this clip here that will catch the nipple on the head pipe. So what you want to do is grab a flathead screwdriver and angle it up just a hair to get by the nipple as you're hammering this clamp forward. All right, so I'm gonna push the entire system towards you, and then we're gonna come down and move towards the front of the car. All right, ready? Yep. And come down. Got it? Just straight down. Now keep in mind, you are going to reuse the front clamps and the rear hangers off of your factory Cat-Back. Just pull them off and set them aside for your AWE system. Again, all you have to do is just pull these hangers off. These came off pretty easy, but if it doesn't work without some help, just try some WD-40. So just grab those clamps, throw them on the front of the H-pipe. Make sure they're on the same orientation as before, with the nuts aiming down. Now moving to the rear, you got the hooks. Remember that I mentioned those before. You got the hooks aiming towards the front of the car. And do the same thing over here. Now you're ready to install your system. All right, first up, you got your H-pipe. Look at this 3-inch goodness. I am so pumped. Make sure your clamps are oriented correctly. You line them up accordingly. To go around that notch. Sometimes it needs a little persuasion. And do not tighten these up quite yet, but I do want to get them snug so this thing doesn't fall off. Before moving forward, now you got to use the AWE supplied clamps. Just the regular exhaust clamps are what you're going to want to use here. And go ahead, slide those on. Again, with the nut aiming down. And you're ready to put it up into place. All right, and after that, you just kind of slide it in. Everything fits really well. And you take this hanger and hang it up into place. Not quite ready for the nut yet, but just get your hanger up into place. Do the same thing with the other intermediate pipe. Keep in mind, in terms of aligning the intermediate pipes up, one of them aims towards the outside of the car. You want the passenger side to be the one aiming out towards the side of the car. All right, next you'll want to grab the clamp, throw it on the muffler, and you're ready to put it up into place. Put it through the hanger first. And snug it down. And grab your second muffler. Make sure this is aiming down. Slide it in here first. So it took a couple adjustments to get this thing lined up. AWE has their fitment down pat, so if you don't have things lined up just right, it may not all work together like a puzzle. So not gonna lie, I got the bigger tools for the clamps, but this should be the last clamp and we'll be good to go. Next, you wanna grab those 13mm bolts for these hangers on the rear subframe and get those into place. And lastly, you'll tighten up the factory clamps right here. Then we'll move on to the bracket that holds the exhaust valve actuators. Next up, for those who have active exhaust, pay attention, we'll be installing this bracket. If you don't have active exhaust, you get to skip to the sound clips. Anyways, we'll put this bracket up into place. First off, you're gonna want to locate these two nuts here on the back of the, I believe this is the evap, something to do with the emissions, I believe, in the gas tank. But anyways, go ahead and remove the nuts on both sides. And this is located on the bottom of the spare tire well towards the front of the car. Right here. Hold that into place. Very ingenious design here. Slide the nut and washer back on and grab your other 10mm nut. Put it back into place over here. Slide it towards the center and tighten everything up. Doesn't need to be super tight, just snug. Next up, you're going to move back to the stock exhaust and take off the actuators off of the inner tip on either side. You got 3 10mm nuts. And pull it off. And just for safekeeping, I'd go ahead and put the nuts back on here because you'll be able to use AWE's hardware on the bracket. So go ahead and grab the supplied hardware from AWE. You'll be using their 10mm bolts and nuts, so you'll need an additional 10mm wrench as well to mount these up into place. And one of them kind of holds it up there so you free a hand up. Now in hindsight, it may be easier to have installed these while the bracket was off. So keep that in mind, whichever is easier for you. But the bracket's on, so that's what we're dealing with here. Get everything hand tight. Go ahead and tighten everything up. Doesn't need to be super tight, just snug. Go ahead and move to the other side. You ready to hook everything up? So I went ahead and did the passenger side already. Just wanted to make sure I had everything lined up perfect so I could show you guys the correct way to do it on the driver's side. Honestly, there really is no super correct way to do it. You just want to make sure this connection's secure. And then zip tie it up and out of the way. The valance comes down right here. So I found that it was pretty easy to just go ahead and next you want to grab your tip and the clamp. Want to make sure the nut side's aiming down. Slide it on the clamp, and then your tip into place. Do the same thing with the second one. And this is the best part about having separate tips like this, is you get to decide how close in or how far out you want them. I like to put them out just a hair from the valance. We don't want too many exhaust fumes touching that valance, especially if you have headers installed or aftermarket or no cats or anything like that. All that extra heat's got to go somewhere, and I've definitely seen melted valances. Not a good thing. So I would move this tip out probably to here and just get it hand tight so it stays into place. And then grab your 13mm socket. Now again, I like to stagger them a little bit. And go ahead and do the same thing with the other side. So that completes the installation of the touring system from AWE on this 2018 GT with active exhaust. We're going to take it out, show you some sound clips, compare it to stock, and then we'll bring it back in to put the track system on with the black diamond tips and see how that sounds. So now that you've heard the touring Cat-Back, we're going to throw the track Cat-Back on this car and see how that sounds. We kept the chrome tips with the touring Cat-Back, but for the track setup, we're going to use the more aggressive looking black diamond tips. Before we start the installation, just go ahead and grab 2 rags like we did before, throw them on top of the exhaust tips so you don't scratch up the valance. 15mm socket. Then you grab your Track Edition exhaust. A lot less to work with here. Makes things a little bit easier with it being a muffler delete style. Don't forget your clamp, like I just did. And go ahead and tighten her down as long as you're happy with how the tips look in the back. And you repeat the process on the other side. Next, you grab your beautiful black tip, grab your clamp, make sure it's aiming down. Throw it over the back and set it up into place. Do the same thing with the other tip. Set it up into place. Grab your 13mm socket, tighten her down. Make sure to hold it while you're tightening because they do shake around. You do the same thing on the other side. As you can see, we got the AWE track exhaust on this car with the black diamond tips. Really excited to see how it sounds, so let's jump to those sound clips. And because this is a Track Edition exhaust, we're going to show you what full bore sounds like. All in all, I'm a huge fan of the AWE exhaust system on the Steeda Q500 Enforcer. Installation really wasn't too bad and it sounds great. Right now we have the track system installed. Really love the sound. A little bit of drone, something you're going to get with a track-oriented system, but again, it sounds amazing with that H-pipe, that nice, deep, low rumble you expect out of a muscle car, and something that's going to perform really well on the track with that straight-through muffler design in the back. Now, if it's a little bit too loud for you on that, and you're a little bit more conscientious of drone inside the vehicle, then the touring is going to be the way to go. It has that 180-degree technology that's patented by AWE to really cancel out that drone and give you that low, deep rumble without the drone. Additionally, it's awesome that AWE has a solution for those that have active exhaust but want to utilize their systems. That bracket, really ingenious design that doesn't trip any check engine lights or anything like that. And you're able to get the AWE sound even if you have active exhaust. Personally, I'm a fan of the black diamond tips. I like that dark, menacing look, but whether you like the chrome tips or the black diamond, you're gonna have both options with these AWE systems, and they're interchangeable. If you buy the track system and you wanna go to the touring, switch up tips, you name it, AWE has all the part numbers you need to get the right combination set up for your vehicle. Speaking of which, check out the full AWE exhaust suite right here at Steeda.com. We have all different offerings from axlebacks to catbacks, the exhaust bracket, the different tips, you name it. We want to hear from you. Comment below and let us know what you think of the AWE systems, if you'd rather have the touring or the track setup on your 2018 Plus Mustang GT. Like, subscribe if you want to see more cool Ford and Mustang content right here at Steeda. Hit that notification bell if you want to get notified when those new videos drop on your phone. And don't forget the most important thing, speed matters.